if you want to be a police person, man or woman, if you want to be a nurse, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be, an attorney, you do not get to just be one. You have to get educated. I have never been money motivated, and I was motivated to be able to help and be a contributor to what we're building in the company. If you're going to open up a business and you want to have a successful business, then you better get prepared for the next 5-10 years to still learn, educate yourself. Even you can make money, you can earn and learn. Even when I made mistakes, which we can talk about, I tried to always honor the relationships I was in and do the right thing. And I don't think people do that every day.
I feel the biggest pain when I see people who cannot find their place under the sun. Unmotivated, sad, and desperate people. Business owners, entrepreneurs, suffering from burnout, stress, and boredom, and no time for their family. My biggest goal is to help them realize that this world provides enough opportunities for everybody. I managed to help thousands of people, but I strongly believe that we can do so much more if we unite our knowledge and skills. And this is the reason I started doing interviews with the best visionaries and world changers. Their inspiring personal and success stories are a proof that everything is possible. All you have to do is listen and learn. Together, we can change our lives and the future of this world.
Hello everybody, this is Warrior Family and I'm Smillion Mori. You are all here, my friends, because you believe that we can all create and live the life worth living, but in order to do this, we must do something about it. And my purpose within this show is to bring you all my friends, guests, experts to share their strategies, their beliefs, their hacks, their knowledge about different areas of their life and business to help you become better person, better mother, better father, better businessman, better salesperson, and create the life worth living. Today, I have a special guest, Laurie Rubidge.
Yes.
Did I got that right?
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Has been in network marketing over 30 years. She built a multi-million-dollar sales team of over 40,000 people and became one of the most recognized trainers in the industry by the time she was 30. Along with being blessed with having the most dedicated, loyal sales team around the world, she was fortunate to move to Nashville to pursue her dream of writing, singing, and even producing an inspirational CD. She's a published author. She has also been blessed to break records with the largest direct sales telecom company in the world. Trained alongside of the greats like Mr. Bob Circosta and Mr. Mark Victor Hansen. He's my friend too. Co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul. Laurie was also so honored to create a training company exclusively for Jennifer and Sylvester Stallone, and is now launching one of the most exciting online television programs called BeYourBestTV.com. Hello, Laurie.
Hello. Thank you
It's such
so
an
much.
honor to having you on my show.
Oh my goodness.
30 years experience in the industry that is considered one of the not so serious industries.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Which is a shame. We will talk about this. But let's start with the thing that you are most passionate about. Be Your Best TV.
Yes.
What is Be Your Best TV about?
Well, I appreciate, first of all, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
It's such a joy. I'm so grateful for
Thank
this.
you.
Absolutely. It's an honor with everything that you've done, everything who you are. Y'all need to, seriously, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Be Your Best TV is just something that has come from my heart. It's been in something that I have launched to be able to really give people a safe place to be able to start their businesses, start their goals, their dreams. And one of the things that I see out there in the industry a lot, whether it's networking or self-development, or I see a lot of people who have just the platform or the guidance, and sometimes I think about me when I started, when I was 22. I was not somebody who had, by any means, any business, being in business. And I joke about that all the time, but it's really true. Everybody who has ever heard my name before knows the story about how I started in a 73 Cougar with Bondo from one end to the other, and Bondo makes your car look like it's there when it's really not. And I called an advertisement and to get involved in a business, didn't even understand network marketing, which we'll talk about later on. But what happened for me, and getting a chance to start learning on who I was, learning the things that I didn't even know I didn't know, and learning how much was holding me back in life. I think there are so many people that have these big dreams, whether it's networking, whether it's whatever type of business that they have, and they don't even realize what they don't know that's going to set them up for failure. They have so much, whether it's years of the parents, the lack of appreciation, the lack of recognition as a child, or whether they had sibling issues, or there's just so much that takes place for someone to launch a business successfully that if you don't take the time, it's almost like you can't start from scratch. That's what I truly feel in my heart. You can't start from scratch. You have to literally kind of back up and make sure that we have the tools before we even start, because it's hard enough to start, as we know, as entrepreneurs. It's hard enough to start. It's hard enough to go out there and have the guts to do it and get the money and everything together and get the context. But it's like, if you already have stuff deep inside that you can't straighten out before you launch, it's heartbreak. And here's what happens, as we know. Whether, again, networking, any other industry, if somebody starts working and they're plugging in and they're working so hard and they're setting themselves up for failure, and the saddest part about it is they don't even know. Because there's stuff that goes way back for them to be able to have to figure out that they need to overcome. And that's where BeYourBestTV.com. It's literally taking, I joke about it, but it's true. Like, I was a misfit. I was somebody who didn't really belong in business. I mean, like, I look at, so many people. I mean, even some of the people you're interviewing, like, I'm in awe of them. They're amazing and so, profound and so, like, just got it together. And even if they didn't start, they just bring a different presence. I still, at 52 years of age, am a goofball, am a misfit in so many ways. And there's a place for us. There is truly a place for us. And if we're able to learn, like, literally how to overcome, how to feel worthy. And again, this is not foof. I hear a lot online, especially now in 2018 and, this new generation of online marketing and training. I hear a lot of, it's, the foof and the fluff and this and that. It's not. It's not fluff. It's about really asking yourself, is there something that potentially could be holding me back? Like, that I don't want to dive into, I don't want to think about, I want to just, like, but is it something that could potentially, once we figure out what that is, then, and you're figuring out a solution on how to be able to take action when those issues come up, when that thought pattern comes up, when that mindset comes up, and then you can take action, oh my gosh, you could be on fire. But if you don't, then there's that potential. And I have to say that do you know the Rocky story?
I know, but if you work for them, let me know if this is the true story.
Okay, it's such, Sylvester Stallone
There are so
wrote
many
this
different
story.
versions of this
Oh,
story.
Sylvester Stallone wrote the story.
He
And
bought
I'll
his
tell you-
dog bag for 1,000.
He did.
How
No,
many?
he did.
How much?
That's a true
How much he
statement.
got? How
It's a
much he
true
got for?
statement.
How
It's
much
a
he
true-
got for the
he had to
script?
pay- yeah, no, he had it, but okay. Well, let me back up a little bit on this because
We will touch base.
Yeah, this is
You
why I
used to
say
work
this.
for Sylvester
Yeah,
Stallone.
this is how my start happened. And the reason why I say about, like the Misfits, I have the live Rocky series story. And what I mean, not boxing wise, but like hit it big and then had like whoosh, taken from me, and then hit it again, and then hit it again, and shoot. And so like I see some of these folks that you're interviewing, and they're like this, and I'm like, must be nice, because they literally are like going, yeah, right?
Up, yeah,
and
it's
I
not
was,
like that.
I was like, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm back in the ring, I'm back in the ring, I'm feeling good. Bam! I'm like,
again.
what was that? Where'd that come from? Hey, was he even a part? Was he supposed to be in the ring here?
Yeah, my coach maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
From the back.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just think that Be Your Best TV is going to be a place that, and we've already had so many unbelievable results and so many incredible success stories, and people that literally, in my favorite line is, they didn't even know what they didn't know. They didn't even know this stuff was holding them back. My latest client is 60 years old. She's an attorney. She's a mayor for her city. She's a powerhouse. And literally, one of the greatest compliments she ever gave me, she said, Laurie, within 3 weeks, she feels like, she got her law degree again, but in the industry she's working in. Because again, just diving deep and diving deep and diving deep. And she's like, if I had never gotten this information, I might have made it okay, but I never would have gone as far. And it's such
And
a
it's
privilege.
60 years old, it's not too late.
It's not too late.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, and that's another thing. See,
Yeah.
two things. Thank you so much for saying that,
Yeah.
because there's two things with Be Your Best TV. There's what my audience really, because I look at you and I look at so many of the folks you're interviewing, and I have people who so admire you, who are multimillionaires, and they're
Wow.
following you, and they're watching what you're doing and watching, and they're in awe. And see, I look at that and I'm like, that's so like phenomenal. My audience is the person who has either A, never tried to have success, never even, like they're just, or they tried and they gave
And
up.
failed.
And they gave up.
And most importantly, gave up.
Yeah. And it's like to give somebody a chance again. It's one thing to make $10,000 a month. It's another to make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 and lose it and do it again.
Have you been there?
I've been there. And it's devastating, but it's unbelievable rewarding when you get it back. And then that really proves that it's not luck.
Okay, yeah.
And so for
It's
me,
not luck, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard work, right? And we all spelled the word luck, W-O-R-K. But the reality is that there are so many people, and one of the greatest, I'm so humbled by it. I'm so appreciative for it. One of the greatest blessings that I think that God has given to me is to be able to grab a hold of individuals and have them make sure that they accomplish what's deep, deep in their heart. And whether they think they have the talent, whether they have been, again, so many of the clients have that experience of not getting the success, and so they gave up on themselves. And to be able to reach into their hearts and grab them and say, I'm not letting you. I'm not letting you go through this life. I'm not letting you live at the end and say, I wish I could have, I should have. I'm not, and I always joke with people, I go, you screwed up meeting me. You screwed up. Because guess what? I'm not letting you off the hook. We're doing this together.
So what did you have to do to become your best? If you go like 30 years ago back.
Such a great question. Thank you. I had, I really, and again, goes back to that misfit. I'm going to have that new nickname now, I guess, online, but that's okay, because the truth is that I had gone through some experiences when I was younger that would definitely made me second guess and feel not worthy of success, or thinking that I was good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, all that stuff that somebody could go through. And so I am the epitome of a student that has to do things over and over and over again to get it right. And I'm not somebody who is that, gets it quick. I have to study harder. I have to stay up later. I have to get up earlier. If I want to accomplish some of the goals that I want to accomplish, I've got to be able to just work really, really hard and accept that. And accept that. And one of the hardest parts about that, which I see people who, that's going back to the giving up, is that they look at people around them that are receiving better results faster, maybe don't have their experience or whatever the case, but they hit it out of the ballpark quicker. And that's a really tough thing to dive deep inside when you see other people that you think maybe, hey, how did they get there faster? And you have to dig deep and keep working until you're able to accomplish what you want to accomplish. And not allow all these experience, especially online now. You see so much online that it's like
Too many beautiful, great things.
yeah, and so you would think
It's a
like,
fairy tale.
yeah, exactly. And so you would think to yourself, well, how would I ever get started? How would I ever do that?
This
you
is
know?
not me.
Yeah, exactly. And it is. It's for anybody. If you have, I am a fool to believe, but I believe it. I don't care if I'm a fool for it. I believe that anybody that has a dream in their heart can make it come true. I believe that if they have the willingness, the desire, call it whatever you want to call it, but the fact is that if they have the desire, there's someone that could give them the know-how. There's someone that could give them the information that they need to be able to accomplish the goal, regardless of their age, sex, experience, doesn't matter.
Who was Laurie when she was 8 years old, like my daughter Sima? What do you remember?
I was, how'd you even know that? How'd you even know anything? Nothing's on there. I was somebody who definitely, I think that, I don't know, I was, the big man upstairs definitely gave me something in my heart that I wanted to just go out and, you know, make a difference. And I used to always joke, my brother did filming. I love all your hardworking crew here. And he was 10 years older than me, so he would make videos for like high school and college, and he would get my sister and I in front of the videos to do like all this, like, you know, like playing around or something like that on the videos. And one time my sister pushed me over and I started crying, and then all of a sudden he walked up with the camera and I went, oh, hi! And so I was all happy again. He goes, you're gonna be in front of cameras a lot, I think. And so when I was 8 years old, I literally was somebody who, I just had this dream in my heart that I was going to be 15, 16, 17 years old, become a famous actress someday, and go out. That's when I moved out to California in a 73 Cougar when I was 22 years old.
Wow.
To go become an actor. Didn't know a soul out there, and just packed up everything I had after I finished school and went out there. So I just think that, I think that I was, in my heart of hearts, had something inside that I wanted to be able to have the influence to be able to make a difference. And everybody who has known me since that age definitely has confirmed that. But I will tell you that when I had a situation happen when I was younger, it definitely made me revert and maybe think that I wasn't worthy. And
Which situation?
just not feeling, circumstances took place where, without going into too much detail, that I just didn't feel like I was good enough, wasn't meant to be a success, and I was too young to think the word success, but just wasn't meant to be the
Somebody.
people in my heart that I thought, the person in my heart that I thought I could become. And so that was where I had to dig deep when I started in business, and I had to get rid of the crap, if you don't mind me saying, of what was going on deep inside of
So you were born and raised where?
In the Chicagoland area.
So you moved there
Midwest.
to LA when you were 22?
I packed up a 73 Cougar 2 weeks after I graduated and took a $400 car.
How did you announce this to your mother and father?
Oh, good question. Well, they told me that because I was bartending, to be able to get enough money, I said when I had $2,000 together, when I got $2,000 enough from bartending, that I was going to pack up the 73 Cougar that my dad had given me, and I was going to go out. And this was in 1988, so the car was a little bit old. And so when I had $2,000, so what would happen is I'd take the cash home, and I'd stuff it under my mattress, and I'd count it every day, you know, to see how I was doing. And I kept putting the money under, and when I kept adding it up, I'm like, I'm still at like 1,400. I swear I was at 1,600.
Your father stole the money?
My dad
No.
would take $1 here and
No
$1.
way.
He didn't want me to leave, and he didn't steal it. He gave it back to me. He didn't want me to leave. He didn't. They were scared to death.
His little Laurie?
They were scared to death. They were scared to death, and
No way.
yeah, and because I was also the kid in the family that didn't really cause any chaos and to my parents, I'm the youngest of six. So I was
Six.
the one who had, you know, just kind of like the normal high school, didn't get in trouble, wasn't crazy, you know, so then all of a sudden now I want to move to California. They go, oh, here goes. You know, now we got to put our seatbelt on and be scared to death for her and what she's going to do.
So did you talk to him about this, stealing your money?
Oh, yeah, he's the one who told me, because I was like, Dad, something's up, and he goes, I just don't want you to go, and here it is. And then they shipped me off. And
I can relate, because I have 8 years old daughter. It's going to be tough, probably.
I know. Well,
So then,
so I
what
just,
was so huge inside of you that made you just say goodbye, I have to go?
but that's the thing, like that's where, that I just feel in my heart of hearts that I think everybody is born with something that they're supposed to do. I do. I believe that everyone on this earth is, I'm sure that there's many things that we're supposed to do, many things. But we can have an impact. And again, we don't have to be famous to have an impact. We don't have to be, you know, 5 million people watching us here, 5 million people watching us there to have an impact. But I do believe that we're all meant to have an impact. And I think in my heart of hearts that if there was one, because I don't have a lot of talents, I can tell you that. I don't have a lot. But the one thing that I believe that I was given a gift from up above was to be able to pull the best out of the individuals, to be able to have them. And that's why I have the connections and the relationships, 20, 30 years in business that I'm blessed enough to be able to have, because I just have always tried, even when I made mistakes, which we can talk about, I tried to always honor the relationships I was in and do the right thing. And I don't think people do that every day, all the time. But I just think in my heart of hearts. So that's why I moved out to California, and I wanted to.
So you came to California. When did you get into the MLM trouble?
yeah, right? Well, ready for this?
My father kicked me out of the house when I told him I'm becoming life insurance agent.
Really?
Selling insurance door to door.
Well, because you were an attorney,
Yeah,
right?
I
You
was
were an
studying,
attorney.
practicing law at the High Court in Ljubljana.
Oh, yeah.
He said,
I've watched your
this
story.
is you are going to do out.
That's amazing. And
So-
did your father, I hope and pray, did he get a chance? Has he seen?
Now he's proud of me.
Good. I'm glad
But
he's
it
still
took
here
him
to be able to.
Couple of
Yeah.
years.
Of course.
So how did you get involved in network marketing industry?
Well, it was on 8/8 of 88. Ready? I mean, 8/8 of 88, I called an advertisement out in California. I didn't know what it was about. Had no idea. It said driver Mercedes. So I literally looked at my 73 Cougar and said to myself, I don't know what this is about, but I'd like to drive a Mercedes. And so I walked into this office. The guy on the phone was from Chicago area, which I had just left Chicago. So I was like, oh, my new best friend on the phone. So that was huge. That's part of a little bit of the training that I do, the rapport, the potential there. But what ended up happening is I walked into an office. They had a very professional atmosphere, which was a blessing. because I definitely, that helped, because in the U.S. here, there's definitely it's everywhere, of course, in the world, but in the Midwest mentality, like structure, and in California, not so much. California is a lot more free-willing, and everybody's a little bit more, willing to take risk. And the Midwest, the East Coast, like more structured, cross the T, dot the I. What is this? Who is this? Who are you? You have the 3-foot rule. Don't get too close to my space. And so the guy from Chicago or Chicagoland area is on the phone. He goes, "Come down. You sound great. Come down. You'll be perfect for our business." And I'm like, "Okay." And I literally got the blue suit from, that my parents gave me to do interviews, and ironed it real quick, drove down to what we call a TJ Maxx, which is like a, you could buy like a blouse for $2. And so I went and got the blouse to go on the way to the interview. And I walked into this office, and they were like, "You would be perfect." And I'm like, "I would?" I had no idea.
For what?
Yeah, exactly. And then, you go through that mindset, because everybody says if it sounds too good to be true, it is, and all this. And now my parents are in the back of my brain going, if anybody offers you something really quick, just, get to know, and so I've got all this stuff in my brain. But honestly, and this is one of the things that I have to attribute to network marketing, that everything about the industry. See, I almost wish everybody was had a chance to jump into my brain that day that I thought about network marketing, because I was somebody who didn't have any preconceived notions. I didn't have negativity. I didn't have skepticism. I didn't have
Nothing.
No
Limiting beliefs about the business.
Yes, and what a gift that was. Right? Because even though I had to get my own issues that I had to overcome to be able to get success, the fact is that I listened to what they said. And if somebody truly, seriously, if you're out there and thinking about network marketing, if someone just truly looked at the facts about building your own business, controlling your time, having a chance to work as many hours or as little or as much as you want, like everything about network marketing, it's unbelievable of what it gives, the freedom it gives. But people don't, because of the preconceived notions, because they had a friend who had a cousin who had a guy who worked on his car, who had a sister who tried network marketing and didn't work. So, oh no, those don't work, because ridiculous reasons. But because I got a chance to be able to start when I was 22, and literally I was so open to everything that I was a sponge and started learning. And I'm forever grateful for the industry.
What skills did you have to learn from the beginning that helped you become who you are now in the business, in the industry?
I think the biggest thing, and this is, I had this conversation 48 hours ago, and we kind of mentioned it before we started the interview. Why is it that in every other industry, right, and I know you were in the police academy, right? Like any industry, if you want to be a police person, man or woman, if you want to be a nurse, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be, an attorney, you do not get to just be one. You have to get educated. And so for me in network marketing, the greatest blessing was to be able to become professional in network marketing. Like I was taught from day one that if I expected to have wealth right away, then I either change my mindset or I get out, because that's not what it's about. If you're a surgeon and you're the best surgeon in the entire world, people fly around the world to be able to come see you to get your whatever they need because you're the best. Does that mean that surgeon, because they're phenomenal, could walk in to a courtroom and say, well, I want to be an attorney today, and just start practicing law? They'd be arrested, right? They couldn't just practice law because they were a great surgeon. But in our industry, no, they think, well, I'm a really good doctor, I'm a really good this, I'm really good this, so I should just get success in network marketing. You're not even thinking to honor the industry enough to be able to know, hey, wait a minute, for me to get successful at what I do in my craft, it took this long, it took this much studying, this much education, this much time away from my family, but then they get into network marketing and expect. So for me, It was literally how to become an entrepreneur, how to think like an entrepreneur. Like that's totally different than anything we've ever been taught in our life.
Yeah.
You know, how to communicate as an entrepreneur, how to be able to schedule your life as an entrepreneur, how to be able to, you know, not give up as an entrepreneur. How this isn't a job, you know, this isn't
Business.
yeah, how to invest in yourself. Oh my gosh, that's a big one that I see people all the time. They're like, I have to invest in myself. I'm like, well, if you're going to invest in anything, why not be it you? You know, like invest in yourself. And I think that one of the greatest blessings of everything that my life has happened, and I'll share with you in a second because I definitely want to bring this up, but is because I heard this analogy a long time ago. In business, network marketing, whatever, we need to be able to make sure we get forged. And forging is to the point of being able to literally, you know, you take that steel and you put it in the ice cold, and then you take it out, and then they put it in burning flames, and then they take it out and they put it in the ice cold, and they take it out. We have to get forged, and it's a process. And to become successful in anything, let alone network marketing, there's a process. And your process is going to be different than mine. That's a big one. Your process will be different. Joe, Sam, Susie, all their processes are different because we don't know what we're starting with. And so for me, I'm just grateful to God that I had enough people to encourage me to not give up.
Did you think about giving up? Or how many times?
Yeah, I thought about giving up, and this is where I thought about giving up because I thought I was letting people down. I am not money motivated. Doesn't mean you can't make money when you're not money motivated. I have never been money motivated, and I was motivated to be able to help and be a contributor to what we're building in the company, in the network. And that's why I think so many people think that they have to be this money-driven person, and they're missing it. Because do you know that the number one reason, and there's studies and studies and studies of why people do network marketing, and they think it's the money, the products, the company, this, it's to be able to be a part of something. It's to be a part of something.
Something bigger, larger.
And so the only time, it still gets me, the only time that I ever considered quitting was when I thought I was failing people that were helping me. That I didn't feel I was representing them right. That I didn't feel that I was doing them justice. Because I was so overwhelmed that they cared for my success. I was so overwhelmed that they cared about me as a person. And I think that people miss that in networking too. That they're getting people in for their business instead of getting people in to help them change their life. And so that's the only time. And I almost did. And I literally sat down with my mentors and I said, I thought they were going to sit me down and say, it's time for you to go. You know, you have screwed this up. And it wasn't because I wasn't working. I was out there building and opening up offices, but I just had never like really hit it. And when they sat me down, they said, Laura, you have to make a decision. And I'm like, I get it. If you want me to quit, I will quit. And they said, no, we're not talking about
Quitting.
No, you can't quit. You can't quit. We're not talking about quitting. We're talking about we want to work with you where we can watch what you're doing and we can hold you accountable. And they did one of the greatest gifts for me because they knew my personality. And they said, when you're accountable, and we believe if we hold you accountable on a daily basis, that you will succeed beyond your wildest dreams. And that next month I got the largest check I had ever gotten. And it never went down from that point forward. And one of the things that's so important for me about that is the fact that there's so many people in networking and they're floating around out there. And like with your system that you have, you know, that guidance that you can give them, there's so many people that you are interviewing that have guidance that people need to have a system to plug into, to be able to stay accountable, you know, for them to be able to build their
So
success.
accountability is a big part of your success.
It's a have to for me. It's a have to for me. It changed my life.
Some people, they think that somebody is controlling them, but it's different, totally different.
It's exactly right.
What was the biggest gift you got from the network marketing? It was not money, maybe
No.
freedom, something else.
Well, it, you know, and that's one of the things that, why when we had first talked about doing this interview, even though I've got Be Your Best TV, launching all these incredible things, networking will be a part of my life forever. My
Yeah.
gratitude, my appreciation, my participation, because this is an industry that will give any human being a chance to have something happen in their life that they probably would have never been able to make happen. And my parents were I was lucky. I know not everybody, I know I've heard a little of your story, not everybody had, I know you have wonderful parents, but not everybody had, I was blessed. My parents were just good, loving, hardworking people. I didn't come from money, but they gave me everything else. They said, if you want to go for something, get off your butt, make it happen. They taught me work ethic. You know, I was never given anything, never handed anything. If I wanted it, I wanted to go. I started working when I was 14. So my parents gave me that, the foundation. So when I always had a dream. When I was probably that 8-year-old little girl, speaking of, and it's funny you brought that up. I didn't even think I was probably 8 years old. I was walking out of church with my parents, and my dad pointed to a red convertible Mercedes. And the person who had that car lived in our neighborhood, in our town, I should say, the small town I grew up in. And my dad said, that should be my car.
Wow.
He just loved it. He said, that should be my car. Like, I just watched him have this beautiful, he just loved that car. And so the guy, after church, we're walking out of the parking lot, the guy who owned the Mercedes, I ran up to him.
No, that.
And said, my dad said that should be his car. My dad was like, Laura, get over here. And I'm like, well, Dad, you started. And he's like, Laura. And it was in the back of my brain, when I started in network marketing and I saw people have more success, I said, I'm going to do that.
What?
I'm going to do that.
Buy Mercedes for my dad.
And I said that, and do you know that the first Mercedes I ever bought was not for me? And I called my dad up. It was Father's Day, and all my brothers and sisters and my parents
They didn't
were
know what you're
scared to
doing,
death. They
what
were,
you're
no,
up to.
they knew I was in networking, and
Yeah.
I was like struggling. And
Yeah, but
so
they
were
didn't
like,
know what you're up to
oh, no.
buying a car.
Oh no! And they were all the ones that are like, you should quit. This is
Yeah,
crazy.
it's not-
You should do. You're so. And they even said to me, they go, Laurie, because I would miss family events. Because I was traveling, I was working, I was building.
I can relate.
Yes, exactly. And they were like, you just care about money. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I so don't care about money. This is not why I'm working so hard. And so what happened is, and this was just an aha moment, because I got the prettiest convertible red Mercedes that I could find.
Red.
Of course, red and white, the colors, right? Just like my dad had pointed out in that church parking lot. And I called up my dad. I said to him, Daddy, because I was living in Florida at the time, I called him up and I said, Dad, and he was up in Chicago. And I said, and my mom was still alive, which I'm so grateful to God. She was sick with emphysema, but she was still alive for this event. And I said, Dad, I couldn't, I'm sorry, I know the family's there for Father's Day and everything else like that, but I do have something special. Can you come outside? Because he knew I was calling from Florida. And he goes, are you outside? Are you outside? And I go, Dad, just come to the door. Just come to the door. And so he goes, this is the best gift ever. He thought I flew in from Florida for his Father's Day. And so all the brothers and sisters are there. And I give my dad a Mercedes, baseball hat. My dad didn't wear baseball. He was a fighter pilot in World War II. He didn't wear baseball hats. And he goes, well, thank you. And then I give him a keychain. And he goes, well, thank you. And it all had Mercedes emblem. I go, well, Dad, don't you think if you have the hat and you have the card or the keychain, don't you think something should go along with it? I go, let's go outside. And my family walks outside, and that red convertible Mercedes was in the driveway. And it was like to my dad, didn't even touch the car. See, again.
What did he say?
He walked around the car.
He couldn't believe, bro. Huh?
He couldn't even talk. And my brothers were crying, and everybody was like, you know, and it was like, and here's what's so sad. This is for all your viewers to understand. That car, like that, what I was able to do for my dad brought me more joy than any $1 million home I ever bought. It brought me more because there's so many people living out there that don't feel that they're worthy to drive a Mercedes or have any dream come true. And so for me to be able to do that, and here's what's so interesting, my whole family, because I brought a stupid car home, respectfully speaking, an automobile, their entire perspective changed.
They started to believe in you and what you're doing. So
It
how
took
many?
a car.
How many? He took a car.
I took a car.
It's sad. It's sad.
But that's my.
Yeah.
So many people give up before they
Even
get a chance
today.
to do that. Yeah, and it's not.
How many years after you got into the MLM, you were able to buy a car for your dad?
It was in 1994, in Father's Day. So it was. I started in '88. It was 6 years, but
So you were like 28.
I was 28.
So it took you 20 years to make your dream happen.
Yeah. But for me, and one of the things that, for everybody to, that car shifted everybody's mindset. But within a couple years, I was able to start helping my parents out financially, and that was one of the greatest gifts for me. And you said, like, what can network marketing do? My family, the shift in my parents, and my mom was very sick with emphysema, and I was able to financially take the burden, that medical expense, and take it away from my family before my mom passed. Those are the greatest accomplishments in my life. Both my parents are now in a better place, and like, I'm so grateful, and I think that I truly feel my mission is to make sure that everybody gets a chance to be able to do things, you know, that will fulfill their heart. There's so many people depressed, there's so many people unhappy in life, and I truly believe it's because they don't have something every day that they're building to be able to believe in and to be able to, you know, feel good about, even if they're not successful yet, but they don't have something that's getting them up early in the morning and making their heart beat faster in a good way about building something. And after my mom passed away, my dad was devastated. He didn't even want to live anymore. He didn't want to live. My parents were married 47 years. And my parents, my mom and dad, had an old beat-up boat that a fighter pilot buddy of my dad's had given to him. And this boat, everybody knew in my family, everybody knew that this boat would never even, like, float in the water. It was so old. It was on the dry dock. You know, that my parents, it was a wood, old, probably 20, 30-year-old boat. And so my parents had this dream that they would go fix this boat up every Sunday after church, and they would go someday and they were going to live in Florida to live on the boat. That was their dream. That was their dream. That was all the dream that they had. And one day, I got a phone call. My father called me and said, I said, Dad, well, why aren't you at the boat working on it? It was a Sunday. And he goes, oh, we didn't want the boat anymore. And I go, huh? What do you mean you didn't want the boat anymore? I mean, like that was like, you know, their dream. And he said, because he was so many months behind on the dry dock fee that he just gave the boat back to the dockmaster. And I said, it was one of the most bittersweet conversations I ever had with my father. I literally thought something had happened to my mom because he was emotional, you could tell, but he tried to, you know, he was a man in his 60s. Why should he have to give up? Why should he have to go through that?
Yeah.
And I was still in my 20s, and I said,
no.
And my mom was too sick for me to even think about boats from my parents because my mom was so sick with emphysema. And after my mom passed away, my dad said, you know, I'm not sure if I want to hang around anymore. And I'm like, Dad, like, how can you can't say that. Like, I'm only 28 years old losing my mom. Like, you can't say that. And he said, I just don't feel like I have a will to keep going without her. And I knew that nothing could replace my mom. I knew nothing could replace her. You know, they were a beautiful love story. But I went to Gunnersville, Alabama, and I called all my buddies that were boaters that knew boats, and told my dad. He wouldn't fly a plane. He wouldn't fly on an airplane. He was a fighter pilot, and unless he was behind the controls, exactly, he wouldn't. That's the kind of dad I had. So just know I get that, you know, drive. That was my dad. So I said, get yourself to Gunnersville, Alabama. He took his red convertible Mercedes. And he goes, what are you doing? And I said, Dad, just trust me. You trust me. Just come to Gunnersville, Alabama. And we go to Gunnersville, and I was already there. I had made this situation happen a week prior. And so he picks me up at the hotel because I was already there. And we start driving to the marina. And I go, Pops, let's just go check out boats, you know. And he's like, we could have done this in Chicago. We could have done this in Florida. Why did you want? I said, just come on. And we walk onto this 43-foot Hatteras, like a boat that my father would never have even dreamed. And he goes, Laura, don't get on their boat. I go, come on, Dad, it's okay, it's okay. I know the people who have this. And so we walked on the boat, and I put a captain's hat on the captain's seat. And I said, boy, Dad, that captain's hat, and I handed it to him, sure would look good on you. And he goes, what are you doing? He goes, did you rent this for the weekend? I go, no. I go, do you like it? And he said, it's beautiful. And I said, it's yours. I said, I know Mom's not with you, and I wish she was, but go live your dream, Dad. Go take this boat, live your dream. And he's like, I can't accept this. He was like, Laura, you work so hard. I go, Dad, I have never worked an hour for, like, I don't have it in me. I admire people who are driven that way. And that's why I really, truly feel like there's so many people out there that could benefit from our industry in this networking, but they feel like they don't have that drive or that, you know, the aggressive, you know, and you don't have to. I gave a boat to my dad. That boat gave me 15 more years of my dad in my life. My dad took that boat. He was like a kid again. And he took that boat, and I told him, I said, I'm sorry, thank you. I said to my dad, I'm okay. I said to my dad, you know, because he goes, I can't accept it. And I go, it's too late. I bought it 7 days ago. We're 3 days past the right to turn it back. I said, so I hope you do like it, because I don't know how to drive a boat.
It's done deal already.
Exactly. And he brought that boat to Marina Jack, which was his dream with my mom. They would go there and like literally split a hamburger because they couldn't afford to get a full meal. Years prior to say, someday Helen will have a boat. So I didn't get to do it before my mom passed, but my dad got to have his dream. And like, how can I say thank you to, like, how can I put into words to this industry of what it helped me to do? And like, you can't, and I see so many people who will go for the rest of their life and they will never get to have this feeling of like just joy to make a difference. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm still like, you know, reaching out, because there's so many good people and they're more talented than I am, that's for sure, in so many ways. And yet, you know, they're, because they just don't know what's holding them back. And this industry has changed my life. And I have 10 other stories and it's just, we're just blessed, we're blessed. We can do good, and you don't have to, there's so many different personalities. There's the aggressive, everybody teaches that, the sharks and the aggressive money, and then there's people who make a difference, and the yellow people, and we call it a lot, and then there's people who are factual motivated, and then there's people who make a difference, the nurses and the hospice people, and and some people think that they have to have a certain personality for this industry, and it's not.
Outgoing,
you could
salesman.
Yes, exactly. You could be who you are and surround yourself with others that will bring in those other personalities, but you can still accomplish your goal because this industry allows you to, if you're willing to work hard for it.
What are some of the traits that people should have or possess or develop if they want to become their best?
Well,
In any industry, in any business.
I think that somebody has to, and I had this conversation with one of my clients, that, I think people are so much selling themselves short because they'll already have a mindset that if it doesn't work in 3 months, I'm going to give up. If it doesn't work in 6 months, I'm going to give up, or I'll try it. And I always joke with people that imagine if you're walking down the aisle. You're walking down the aisle to the day you're getting married, and you walk down the aisle. You get to the end, you pour your vows out. You're like, to death to us, you're pouring everything out, and the person looks at you across the aisle and across the way and says, well, I'll try it for 3 months. First of all, your family would want to, And so nobody will get success, no matter who they are, whatever industry, unless they're willing to go the distance. Which brings it back to Rocky. They have to go the distance. They have to be able to decide that they're going to make it consciously, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. Or if they have that way out in the beginning, they're going to take it. And I think one of the biggest traits that somebody has to make a decision before they start is that they're going to follow through. And it doesn't mean that it has to be with the same company. It doesn't mean, it means that I'm going to succeed. If the way life works turns me over here, turns me over here, it means that I'm still going to succeed. And too many people see a bump in the road, or it didn't work out, or their company, or their upline, or something, and they go, oh, that's a sign. I'm supposed to give it up. No, that was just...
I hear so many stories.
Yes.
I gave up because of my mentor.
Oh.
I had a bad mentor.
Right?
So how did you get to know Sylvester Stallone?
Oh my gosh! Okay. So when I was young and went through
Do you have his mobile?
Do we have...
Mobile phone number, I think.
Yeah, so when we had... Trust me, I'm so blessed to have this family connected in my life. They've changed my life, and that's a whole nother story. Okay, now the Kleenex is coming out. I know it's not pretty. I'm sorry, but this is just...
Take your time.
You're so sweet, and thank you. And first of all, everybody who has ever worked with you has always said that you're the classiest and kindest and wonderful. So I thank you. I thank you for being so good to me. I'm very grateful and honored to be here, more than you know. More than you know. You're a part of my story.
Thank you.
You're a part of my story. So what happened, and this is a part, remember I talked about the relationships, right? And how overwhelmed I was. The people I was working with were so cared about me. They didn't just care, they cared about me. Not my business, not the money I brought them. They cared about me. And so same thing that I learned. Every time I would always say, how do I give back? How do I give back to somebody who's put so much time into you? And they said, go do it for somebody else, right? We've heard that for years. Go give it back to someone else. Go help someone else. So in this Nashville city, I'm taking a sabbatical, writing music, and I meet this couple, and they're in network marketing, and they're amazing. This couple is just driven, and they have just everything you would want in a distribution network. They're amazing and heartfelt and passionate and hardworking. And then they're telling their story, and I'm getting emotional at their story. It's awesome, and I'm like, how come you guys are where you're at. Like, I would expect them, with everything they were doing, to be able, and then they told me their nightmare story, that they weren't getting the support, that people that were working in the company, nothing to do with the company. Let's get that clear. It's people, independent people, right, that were taking from them and so on and so forth. And I said, okay, I go, that's crazy. I go, I love the company you're representing, come here. And they go, what do you mean? I go, I'm putting you under my wing. They go, we're not in your group. I go, I don't care. You're too valuable for this company. You need to know the right stuff to do because you guys are such a gift. You're such beautiful people. You need to inspire so many more. And guess what? Oh my gosh. Like, this is life. This is how it happens, because I never, in my wildest dreams, wildest dreams, thought what would take place took place. So I'm helping them talk to people, doing meetings for them. I never made a dime from it, never thought about it. Just, it was the right thing to do.
We're just
Sometimes,
helping,
Yes, you just got to do the right thing. Whether it's time consuming, whether it's inconvenient, do the right thing. There's a plan. There's a bigger plan, and we know God has this plan. Believe me, I could not even write this story. What happened is, I'm helping them. They go on stage maybe 4 months later as one of the most successful, newest stories. And I sat there,
crying.
I'm mush pie. Everybody knows me well, knows that
Means
I can't
more
get
than
away.
money.
Yes, and I'm like so happy for them and so excited for them, and they're inspiring people, and they've got this great story. So, 2 things that you need to know about this couple. Number 1, when I was 10 years old, when I had gone through this stuff when I was 8 and gone through when I was young, not feeling worthy, my brother brought me to the movie Rocky when I was 10 years old. That movie changed my life. My brother, I'm a girly girl, have been my whole life, cheerleader, he brings me to Rocky. Rocky is a very intense movie for a 10-year-old little girl. Changed my life because I saw myself in Rocky at 10 years old. I saw myself where he didn't feel worthy to make, oh my God, I'm telling you, wait. When the scene, when Sylvester Stallone is right before the big fight, and he leaves, he literally gets up, Adrian is sleeping, he goes to the stadium. Oh my God, this is like I hope I'm not taking up too much of your time, because this is crazy when you hear this. So he walks in the stadium the night before the fight. And what I never forgot is that his stripes, he was sitting there looking at the stadium like, why am I here? Like, I don't belong here. Like, he's going through all this. This was like, I don't deserve to fight the world champion. I'm not this person. I shouldn't be here. And he goes to the guy, because the announcer walks in and goes, Rock, what are you doing here? And he goes, shouldn't you be home sleeping? And he looks at his poster. He looks at his poster and he goes, the stripe is wrong. The color stripe is wrong. And the announcer goes, doesn't really matter anyway, does it, Rock? Like, in other words, come on.
Who are you?
You know who you are. You don't belong. And it was the most, I'm 10 years old. And he goes home from the movie, like he goes home from walking the stadium, and he wakes up, and Adrian goes, and he goes, what am I doing here? And he tells the story. And he goes, I don't belong here. And it just was everything. Like, I thought, oh my God. And he's doing this movie part, and that was the most intense part of the movie, because she's like, he goes, I just want to make it all 15 rounds. Like, I don't need to win. I don't need to be somebody. I just want to prove to myself that I'm not this loser that everybody says, because it makes fun of him and everything else. And he goes, I just want to make it all 15 rounds. And it's like that part of the movie. Now wait, watch what happens. So that part of that movie is like, I'm sitting there like going, it got me like so intensely. So then, of course, the end of the movie, he makes the 15 rounds. He doesn't even care about winning. All he wants is Adrian. He's calling Adrian. It's such a powerful movie. If you haven't seen it again, go watch it again. But here's what's so wild. Now let's go back to the couple that I helped. I started training that I'm doing just to be able to help people in Nashville.
Yeah.
And this couple calls me up and says, we want to come to the training. And I'd be like, oh, I'd be honored to have you. Oh my gosh, I miss you guys.
Yeah.
So they come to the training. At the end of the training, I tell the story of there's certain percentages of people and who they are and so on. And I use Sylvester Stallone at the end of my training because he wrote the script. He didn't sell out. They said, all right, but we want the script, not you. He said, no.
Yeah.
He took the script. He couldn't feed his family. And he didn't sell out. And he held on until they called him back and said, we'll give you a shot. But you're not going to get a big salary. You'll just get a piece of the pie. But here's what happened. I'm telling the story, telling what that movie changed my life. And this couple sitting in the back, I don't know this is going on. They're sitting in the back. They're listening to me tell the story. They took my DVDs that I had at the event, and they made a phone call
To Sylvester Stallone.
to somebody he worked with that was launching. They were launching a program. She made a phone call. She said, you need to see this. You need to see this girl has been promoting this man's story her entire career. You need to see this. So they made this connect. I don't know any of this going on. This is all happening and I don't even know. So my best girlfriend up in Nashville, one of my best girlfriends, Aurora, calls me up and she said, Laurie, you're going to get a phone call from the Stallone's company. And I said, Aurora, that's not even funny. Like, it's not even April Fool's. Don't say that. Why would you even say that? She goes, I didn't want to tell you until I knew for sure. She said they'd like you to fly out this weekend and meet with them and teach their folks what you do, and they see your passion, they see what you're all about, they see the inspiration. And I'm like, I mean, how can you can't plan that.
No,
you
you cannot.
You can't.
Yeah.
I go to California with strangers on Friday. By Sunday, I had a contract and started busting my tail end to be able to inspire people in their company to go for it. And I got a phone call from Jennifer Stallone and an email, and she said, we want you to have dinner at our house. We cannot believe what you're doing for us. And I said, and she sent the email first, and I sent a message back, and I said, I actually declined.
Why?
Because just for her to ask was enough. For her to be able to say, we appreciate you. Like, I always thought someday I'm going to tell Sylvester Stallone how much I honor and appreciate what he did for my life, to give me the guts to go for it.
Since you were 10 years old.
Someday I will.
One movie, huh? One story.
And Jennifer's message about we appreciate you, and I said, I go, I don't have, she goes, we insist. But here's what happens. I go to dinner at their home. Mr. Stallone, Sylvester Stallone definitely knew I was like, you know, overwhelmed. I'm like, Laura, be cool. Be cool,
Yeah,
Laura.
how can you be cool?
I work with so many different celebrities. I'm like, come on, Laura, be cool.
Yeah,
Hold
it's
it
only
together.
Sly.
Hold it together.
It's only Sylvester.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know. And he said, come on, kiddo. And Jennifer was the
Come on,
classiest.
kid.
Jennifer was the classiest. She literally she sat on one side, and because she had a dinner party, there was 8 of us there, and she put me on the other side of Ms. Sly. And so she goes, and then after we have dinner, he goes, come here, I want to show you something. And we walk into one of their sinking living rooms, one of the many.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this happening? Like, is this? And Sly walks me down, and he sits me down, and he goes, what was your favorite part of the movie? And I start telling him the story. I'm like, when you walked into that stadium, and you thought, I don't belong here, and he confirmed it. I mean, you wrote that in the movie to be able to have that guy say, doesn't really matter, Rock, does it? Like, you know you don't belong here. And when you went home, and you and Adrian, and you had that, and he goes, Laurie, you'll never guess. And I go, what? And he goes, they weren't going to let me put that in the movie. And I go, what? He goes, we only had so much. I'm hearing that. This is Sylvester Stallone telling me this. Like, this is not like me reading it online or hearing it from him on film or something. I'm like, he's sitting across. I'm like, I was like another person watching down, listening.
Absolutely.
And he goes, we only had a certain amount of money left for the filming. And that day, that was like the guys told me, no, we don't have the money to do this scene. We're going to take it out. He goes, he's like, that's the movie. Like, that's the movie. And he goes, we'll give you one shot to get it right. And that was the most think about the pressure. Think about the pressure. We'll give you one shot to get it right. And he literally told me what he had to do to mentally prepare. He said he drank some Boone's Farm wine, and he's like, okay. And he went in there and did it. And the next day he walked in and they said, we'll keep it. And I'm like hearing this from Sylvester Stallone himself.
He was speaking from the heart, probably.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's like one of the most inspiring stories of the world, literally, and still today.
Yeah,
And the Rocky 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but Rocky Balboa, just all awesome. It's my story. It's my life. I'm so grateful. But
That's great.
yeah. But the giving back, making a difference in someone else's life, you don't know when it's going to pay you back. You don't do it for that. And it's like the most unbelievable situation. Still grateful to God every day for that. Very blessed.
You have some events coming up?
I do. We've got an event in November it's called Go For It, ironically enough, which is one of Sly's conversations he had with one of the guys when they were going to just beat on him. He said, go for it. So we're having an event, Go For It, and it's all about literally breaking down network marketing, breaking down what people need, what we're going to have so many different experts. We may have some other people I may beg to be a part of it. I don't know, coming up in November. And then we have a event in December that's literally being able to get your strength. It's called Getting Your Strength. And it's really about finding, whether you have God in your life, whatever you need to have in your life to be able to, not give up and to make sure that you accomplish all that you're meant to accomplish in life. So that's coming up in December. But we're so excited about it. So,
Great.
Yeah.
Any books that you would recommend to somebody starting in the industry or general?
Well, one of the things that, for me, that was so powerful was The Power of Positive Thinking. Because Norman Vincent Peale. Yeah, as old as it is, it's a classic that people can utilize today, even more so than any time before. I see so many people that they don't, and again, it's not fluff. It's a psychological system of how to be able to get the thinking and the learning. Like I learned a long time ago about the 4 stages of learning, the unconscious incompetence, and then so we don't know what we don't know, and then we become consciously incompetent, so that we start realizing what we don't know, and then we become consciously competent, but we're still not good at it. We may know what we're supposed to know, but then we have to take that action. And I think like with the studying, the power of positive thinking and Think and Grow Rich is obviously so powerful. People really have to start studying to be great at their craft, at their entrepreneurship. Like take it like any other industry. If you're going to open up a business and you want to have a successful business, then you better get prepared for the next 5-10 years to still learn, educate yourself. Even you can make money, you can earn and learn. In network marketing, we can. Most industries you can't until you have that final degree. But in our industry, you can.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to study and work hard at it. And I mean, there's so many different. I love Mary Kay's book. It was so powerful about being able to, as a woman, what she did, and it just inspires a lot of women out there. And people think it was from the 60s and 70s. Trust me, it's relevant today in 2018 for sure. So,
You told me you have 5 brothers and sisters. How many nephews?
oh my gosh, don't get mad at me, brothers and sisters. There's a lot of them. Over 10.
Over 10.
How's that answer? It's true.
Over 10. It's
There's-
100%.
yeah.
Is this 100%?
There's over
Yeah.
10. Over 10. Yeah, I'm lucky. I have a beautiful family. But it wasn't always that way, you know. There was hardship and thinking I was crazy and lost my mind and what else is new? Right? There goes Laurie. That's what they'd always say. There she goes again. There she goes again. But it's come full circle in the bonds that we have today. And I credit a lot of what I learned in this industry to be able to open up those doors and have the relationships and, you know, to be able to be patient and know that the time will come and it's in their timing when they decide, and I'm here regardless, and love me or not, love what I'm doing or not, I'm here, and I hope that someday we're in good shape, and we are. Took a while though. Took a while.
Do you remember last words from your dad before he passed away? Maybe not at that moment, but you were with him.
Okay, so I brought something, and I wanted to share it just because it's a thank you card, and it's from my dad after my mom passed. And in a lifetime of unbelievable blessings that I've been, like I told you with this slides to learn, all these blessings, like this to me will be what I remember the last day of my life, these moments. And he wrote this card, and my dad, who was this fighter pilot and strong and not a person who would hug you, not a person who would share a lot of, you know, oh, I love you, you know, like that was, you know, my brothers had a difficult time because he wasn't that type of dad. I know that a lot of men experience that with their dads. And he wrote this to me, and it says, and thank you, it says, thank you, and then it says, for being the special person you are, and thank you from the bottom of my heart, all you have done for Mom and I. And like, to have him know that I'm so grateful to God that I was able to get the success to the point where they both knew before both of them passed that I was going to be okay, that no matter what took place in my life, that I was going to be okay, and to know that I was able to give back to them for being the parents that they were. And, you know, these 20 words will mean more to me than $1 million bank account. And I'm grateful, so grateful to be able to have the opportunity that my dad and I had, the bond that we had. And I was his caretaker for the last 8 months of his life. And, you know, he was my buddy. And, you know, I'm just grateful that I was able to be his daughter. Very proud of being able to be both my parents' kid. So.
I have one question that I have here. Maybe you don't need to answer if you don't want. You don't have your own kids.
No. I have been involved with foster parenting, and I've been involved with Big Brother, Big Sister, and have had a lot of hopefully positive influence on a lot of young ones, because I always wanted to be a mom, but I didn't get that opportunity. So. But there's a lot of kids that need mentorship. There's a lot of kids that need positive role models. You know, what we're seeing today is scary. What we're seeing out there is just, you know, and I'm grateful for people like you who are setting such great examples.
There are many couples out there probably that cannot have a baby. Some are not blessed, like you said, to have a baby. What message would you give them?
To well, if there's, just because a dream is in your heart, and it may not get fulfilled how you think it's supposed to, doesn't mean it can't get fulfilled. You have to just know that there may be a different way that it gets fulfilled. But don't give up. You know, if there's a lot of there's a lot of women who, there's a lot of people, men and women, who for whatever reason, but that doesn't mean that they can't have an impact on the little ones out there. Doesn't mean that they can't do it in a different way. There's so many programs, or there's, you know, adoptions. There's so many that I hope and pray that they don't give up, because there's a lot of little ones out there that need to have you. That whoever's watching, who's going through that, they need you, and you just don't know it yet. But you know, until you open your heart to even conceive that mindset, because it's hard when you expect. And I didn't know we were going to go here, but there's only one time I've been at a point where I was at a breaking point, was because I've been with so many of my friends who have had children and been there for the ultrasounds and the beautiful celebrations and everything else. And a couple years back, I had been diagnosed with, which is also part of this, the sabbatical that has been taken in a little bit. But I was diagnosed and had 3 things found in my body that weren't supposed to be there. And I'm sitting in the doctor's office in Nashville, Tennessee. They said, we've got to do an ultrasound on your uterus, which is where the beautiful babies are supposed to be. And they found a 10-pound tumor. And I'm sitting there in the doctor's office, been there 1,000 times with my friends, and going through, and they find something so awful instead of something so beautiful. And that was probably one of the hardest days of my life, because I was there alone, and I thought to myself, this isn't right. That's probably the only day in 52 years, honestly, that no matter any hardship I've been through, that I was like, that's really pushing it. You know, that's really. And for me, to experience that, and I have to attribute the years of self-development, the years of learning and growing, and people feeding into me and teaching me how to overcome, to get through that. And how can you put a price on that? And I was able to get through it, and I'm healthy, and I'm grateful, and that was like a really, you know, I see so many people go through some tough diagnoses, some tough scenarios. And everything that you teach, everything that all these students, excuse me, not students, but these masters that you have, not me, but these masters that you're interviewing, you know, I'm so grateful for, because they're helping people. They're helping more people than they even know. They're helping more people than is watching them. They don't know. They may never meet them. Just like I may have never met the Stallones. But they changed my life forever. And that's why you have to keep doing what you're doing. That's why you doing what you're doing and encouraging and everything is just because you're helping so many people like me who will need you and you don't even know it. Will need you to get through something that you may they may never even get a blessing to meet you, to shake your hand, to thank you, but you can have such an impact. And people need to be open to it. People need to be open to studying and learning and growing and never stop growing. Why do people feel like, oh, high school, college, I'm done? No, keep growing. Grow at 60. Grow at 65. Grow at 70. Grow at 80. Like, don't stop. Don't stop learning. I want to be like the last day of my life and somebody
Still
go,
learning.
yeah, and I'll be like, wait, is there something else I need to know? Wait, let me kicking
Any
that
other
casket
book?
open going, yeah, exactly. Like, wait, maybe give me one more thing.
I'm so grateful you shared this with me, because we didn't plan this.
I know.
We didn't plan the whole conversation. Like, me and my wife couldn't have a baby for 10 years. The doctors told us to give up. It's not worth trying. And then we said, okay, if we cannot have our own baby, then we will adopt one. And we went into the adoption process 3-4 months. And then we decided, let's try one more time. And after 9 IVF procedures, we got beautiful daughter, Sima, and then we adopted a boy from Russia anyway.
I'm so happy for you.
So I think that many people that are watching this show right now, they can get so many good stuff out of this.
Well, thank you for not giving up. Thank you for not giving up. You'll inspire so many couples that, you know, and I hear that a lot when people finally, I think when you say it's okay and find another way.
Yeah, then something can happen.
Yeah, instead of holding so tightly, and that's why I said our dreams are our dreams.
Yeah.
They may change, they may take a different path to get there, but it's still a dream, and then you get rewarded to have both.
I have a last question.
Yes.
That I call power message or last message. What message, if you only had 5 seconds to live, what message would you send to your nephews or to kids that don't have parents and they go into the bed alone every night?
Do the right thing in life. Do the right thing. We all know deep down inside what is right and what isn't. And I have never, ever gone wrong by doing the right thing. It was hard. I lost money from it at times. It's never, ever, ever not been the right thing. Never not come back to me by doing the right thing. And I would tell every young person out there, especially in today's world, they have so many choices that are bad. They have so many choices that are like their influence that is around them, they're being peer pressure and all this stuff online that they see. Don't. Honor yourself. Honor your body. Honor your life. Honor your thoughts. Honor who you are and do the right thing. Do the right thing for you, not for your parents, not for, do the right thing for you.
Oh. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh,
It was a pleasure to having you on my show.
It's an honor.
So my friends, do the right thing. It's already inside of you. Honor yourself, honor your dreams, and I will see you in the next show.